What is up, my viewers? Time again for World of Tanks gameplay commentary. Spang here, bringing you something of a viewer replay, something a little different. We don't often get TOG 2 replays. Don't get me wrong, the TOG 2 is, well, it's an atrocity of a tank. But still, it is a solid vehicle, and I've had a few good ones of my own. In fact, I believe I'll be uploading one of those rather shortly. But in this case, it is going to be one from Bondar 007. And what clan is he a part of at the moment? Oh, he has no clan tags when he sent this one in. And it's going to be a TOG on the enemy team, 2 TOGs for his team, the other one being his platoon mate. Tier 6s seeming fairly even, except for the fact, nope, 3 Tier 6 artillery. And 2 of them are FV304s, one of them's, yeah, fairly even matchmaking here. The enemy team down at Tier 5, is that going to be a huge factor? Probably not so much. Right here, looks like Bondar trying to take some sniper shots in the TOG, which, honestly, you kind of have to do at times. It's one of those vehicles to where its gun and rate of fire and accuracy is really the only thing it's got going for it, and its hit points, but it's super slow. Its armor can bounce, but not reliably. And right here, you're seeing him go where heavy tanks usually go in the south, which is towards the city. Now, the northern spawn, I'm not so fond of going to the city, even if I am a heavy tank. I'm much more inclined to let the enemy team take it, and then just sit back on our base, camp, and let the enemy try and push across that nice wide open field. Because, well, I've had that happen to me, and I've done that to other people, and it usually works out pretty well. So, every now and again, I try to change up the meta, and I'll suggest to my team, hey, we should just camp base. Other people go, fast tanks go to the south, go along the railroad tracks, try and flank the enemy, take them out at their base. The rest of us, the big heavy hitting stuff, the heavy tanks, some of the tank destroyers, we're gonna sit here on cap and let them come across the open field, expose themselves, have no cover while we just kind of take it to them. And usually it works out pretty well. And right here, this is the TOG's biggest problem, is it's just slow mobility. Besides its massive size, I would say that's which is its second biggest problem. You know, being just such a large target for artillery, for enemy tanks to shoot at, it's hard to hide yourself, but at the same time, it does have a great gun on it, 175 average damage, 150 average damage, 171 average pen, and a really decent rate of fire, so you can really put out the DPM. But this Churchill 3 FV304 right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're so large, you can't escape once you start getting shot at, and it's kind of hard to hide yourself. And it's just so easy for everyone to shoot you and hit you because you are just such a big target. And right now, he did a good job of getting into this divot, which is what he really needed to do. Finally getting into the city. It looks like his buddy Danny DNX is a little bit further behind him at the moment. Bondar not doing too hot for himself, only 419 damage. But keep in mind, he is a tier 6 still. Just because of his large hit point pool, it does not mean that you should really gauge him any differently than any other tier 6 when it comes to damage. Now, if you do your tank's hit points in damage in a TOG 2, I think you're doing rather well for yourself, because considering most tier 8 heavy tanks only have about 800, 900, actually I don't think any tier 6 vehicle has 900 hit points. I could be mistaken on that. Maybe the Churchill, the Churchill 7, I'm not sure. All I know is that most tier, like the KV-85 right there, 870 hit points. So if you do 1400 hit points in damage as a TOG 2, you're doing pretty well. Right here, this KV-85, not exactly, whoa, what was that? Let's just ignore it. And like I said, right here, the KV-85 was not able to out DPM the TOG 2 fast enough. And that is what the TOG 2 really has going for, is just its massive hit point pool, and the good gun on it. So you're able to do well in it as long as you play cautiously. You don't drive yourself out in front of the entire enemy team. The thing about the TOG 2, and right here, here's another great tactic in it: reverse side scraping. So he definitely knows what he's doing right here. But 2 Churchill 3s, that is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And he's not having the best of luck penetrating there. There we go, a beautiful track right there. He's going to try and shoot it in its cogwheel and keep it perma-track, and while at the same time damaging it. So right here, the other enemy Churchill 3 coming out the reverse side scrape, actually blocking a shot for him. And the enemy Churchill 3 just unable to pen. Like I said, its armor isn't super reliable, but in this particular instance, his side scrape angle is extreme enough. And Danny right here coming in for the flank. It's not often you see a TOG 2 actually getting the flank on someone. But in this case, this Churchill 3 is absolutely dead. Danny missing a shot. The Churchill 3 not going to be able to DPM fast enough to take out the TOG 2. So right here, Bondar's team doing rather well for itself. Danny and Bondar overall doing well for themselves, and it looks like Bondar, like I was saying, if you do 1,400 hit points in a TOG 2, well, worth of damage in a TOG 2, you're doing well for yourself, but he's so far done over 2,000, so definitely dishing out the damage. The enemy team really not going to be able to do much to stop him at this point, although haters gonna skate, whatever that means. I was going to say, don't count the enemy team out just yet. That is a Nashorn, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, a Nashorn on the enemy team, which is fully capable of killing Bondar right here. And even Danny, to an extent, that 3001, or is that, yeah, that's a 3001H. Definitely going to be probably killed by a Nashorn if the Nashorn has fallen back. I'm not sure if he has, but even still, that 3001's kind of already bait at this point as well. All it takes is the 304 or the Hummel to go TD mode, and he is done. So, still kind of anyone's match, mostly due to the friendly Nashorn sitting so far back on base. He's really not useful. The 304 possibly going to be useful, and same for the other Artie. You really cannot count on Artie reliably, and that's nothing saying against the players who play artillery. It's just the fact of Artie is so at the mercy of RNG that it cannot be played consistently, even by the best of players. Oh, right here, the Nashorn has fallen back. Luckily, Bondar is behind this destructible debris, but still, it's cover nonetheless, keeping him alive. And that is the biggest tip I can give you if you're going to play a TOG 2. It's do your best to not get yourself exposed. You want to try and stay as safe as possible without staying too far back from the action, because you want to be able to use your hit point pool and kind of soak up some damage, but at the same time you don't just want to like just continue to drive forward in a straight line towards the enemy, because, well, if you get caught out in a bad situation, you can't really retreat, you can't really reposition, so you have to play conservatively and smartly, but still be close enough to the action to where you can dish out the damage and soak up the hit points as much as is reasonable. And so the TOG 2 takes a little bit of learning. I know for me it was a tough learning curve, and every now and again it's still actually pretty rough to get a good match in it, just because the tank is so difficult to play. It's got a lot of things going for it and a lot of things going against it. And it's kind of one of those odd vehicles, not only in its appearance, but just in the way you have to play it. But right here, this Nashorn looking like he's trying to do something, and Bondar, nope, Danny's gonna get the kill. TOG 2's on cap. Well, slow and steady wins the race, I suppose, although it's kind of a not even a base race at this point, and if you'll forgive me for using the StarCraft term, but right here, it's all over. This 304 really has no chance. I'm just kind of wondering if artillery's going to rein in on that, or, oh, 304 trying to shoot Danny here, and really, it's one of those situations of, if I was the 304, I might have been running at this point. I don't think, yeah, here we go. He's finally maybe running. No, he is going for it, just taking it like a man, and there we go, getting a shot off. Looks like he did nail Danny there right at the end. Friendly artillery finally coming in, but missing horribly. But overall, very well played. Over 2,000 damage done for Bondar, and I'm not sure how much damage Danny ended up actually doing, but we'll see that in post-game stats here in just a minute. Alright, and here we go. Mastery Badge Ace Tanker. Kind of surprising. I would have expected him to need to do a little bit more to earn that, but at the same time, I guess he did do over 2,000 damage, and like I said, the TOG 2 is a difficult vehicle to play, especially for players who aren't quite sure what they're doing in it, lesser skilled players, lesser experienced players. And at this point, definitely Brothers in Arms. I didn't even realize they got that steel wall. Kind of surprising, but not when you consider how he was reverse side scraping and managing to bounce all those shots from the Churchill 3s, and the fact that he survived with only about 400 of his hit points left, so he soaked up 1,000 hit points worth of damage as well, which in a tier 6 match is quite a bit. But overall, the Nashorn on his team Even though playing conservatively there towards the end, dealing a lot of damage. Was that high caliber? Yes, it was. I think he would have gotten high caliber otherwise if it wasn't for that. And Danny, unfortunately, not doing so hot, but still helping him to get those brothers in arms. Looks like Danny really was more just getting those kill shots and but Bondar still got 3 kills, so overall 7 kills between the two of them. Not too shabby. The enemy TOG excuse me. And this is what I'm talking about right here. 1085, not the most impressive amount of damage ever, and that's, like I said, due to the fact that the TOG 2 can be a very difficult vehicle to play. Do I agree with the enemy TOG 2's decision to go to the railroad tracks? And if you weren't paying attention to the minimap, you would not have noticed he went that way, but at the same time, you could also infer, since they didn't run into him at the city, and he died, yeah, he was railroad tracks. He didn't get too far if you were paying attention to the minimap. Maybe I should have been paying a little more attention, commenting a bit more on that instead of the playstyle of the TOG 2, but regardless, overall, the top performers for the enemy team definitely looking like those tier 6 players, but still not doing all that much. But when you look at, you know, Bondar's team, his team wasn't really doing that much besides him and the Nashorn, who were really just the main people responsible for all the damage on his team. I mean, I think the two of them together, yeah, take up more than all of the other people's damage on his team. So very well played by the two of them. And Danny, you know, he was there, he was helping out. Definitely a contributor to make it into the top 5 for damage. And I think he made it into the top 5 for EXP. Yes, he did as well. So very well played by the two of them. Good teamwork. I like that flank I saw there. But overall, just, I could say that maybe, I don't know, Bondar maybe shouldn't have stopped in the middle of the open field like he did. I feel like he took a lot more damage than he dished out, and it really wasn't worth it. And sometimes that's what you have to do in the TOG too, is you just have to keep pushing forward to your next cover. You can't afford to stop. And honestly, you're such a slow mover that you can really afford to just keep going and firing on the move, and you still have a decent chance of hitting things just because of how slow your vehicle actually moves. The effect of gun dispersion is kind of mitigated by your slow speed. But overall, earning himself quite a bit of credits, even without running premium, which he does not, apparently, and earning himself a fair amount of XP as well. So definitely well done, sir. And I look forward to, I think I got a few more from you in my, it's just a little sneak peek here. There's a lot of replays I need to get through. So a lot of 9.4. I did not specify this was a 9.4 replay. There's going to be, let's ignore all the tabs I'm randomly clicking. And there is going to be a, where was I? Oh yeah, this is a 9.4 replay. There's going to be 9.5 released alongside this because, well, I really need to catch up. And the fact is, I'm doing this on my laptop. All the 9.4 replays are going to be on my laptop. Most of the 9.5 are probably going to be on my desktop, but no promises because 9.6 is about to release on the North American server. It is the 22nd of February when this is recorded, and the 9.6 release is tomorrow, supposedly, on the 23rd of February. So there's going to be, hopefully, I can find the time and make the time and find the motivation and energy to put out a massive influx of replays, and you guys can all just look forward to that. But until then, if you like this video, click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. If you got a replay, be sure to check the description below for instructions on how to submit. If you got suggestions on how I can make my videos and channel better, please let me know in the comment section below, or just say hi, that's cool too. But until next time, this has been Spang, and I am signing off. MLG.